Stay tuned, stay tuned, stay tuned. I'm here with the coach, John Brent.
And I'm here with the vet, Ian Griffin.
And guess where we're at?
We're at the TOC?
The TOC.
TOC.
The Tactical Operations Center.
Right.
Actually, we're in the motor pool of the TOC.
The motor pool, I like that.
Yeah, so you can see all the automotive stuff here.
This is great. This is I've only been here a couple of times. This is pretty awesome.
Yeah, so y'all can't see it. We got another car over here and got the good car out right now. So anyway.
And we won't talk about that.
Yeah, we won't talk about that at all. That hurts my heart. So what we are going to talk about, because we cannot close out the year without talking a little bit of politics.
A little bit.
A little bit. So we're going to talk about Senator Perdue down there in Georgia. Dude, what the flip was he thinking? He's sitting there, he's running. And if you don't know, you should know, people, is there's a Senate runoff for 2 seats in Georgia that will decide who has the majority of the Senate.
This is huge.
It's very huge.
Yeah.
Right now, the Republicans have 50 senators, and the Democrats have 48. And, of course, the Republicans want to get at least 1, and the Democrats want to get at least 2 so they can tie, and that way Kamala Harris will be the tiebreaker.
Wow.
But if the Republicans pull 1, then there won't be a tiebreaker. They've already got it. So
right.
They have the majority. The issue is after the election, November 3rd, 4th, came out, it was so close they had to do runoffs on both
right.
of them. And doing these runoffs, they said, let's have some debates. Well, I can't think of her name. How you say her name? Loeffler and Warnock did a debate, but the debate with Perdue, and I can't say his name right either. Ossoff, he's all in it, and Perdue don't show up.
Makes
and he
no
doesn't
sense.
do it. And you're like, and of course, Ossoff tore him up.
Of course, that shows weakness.
He just tore him up. He sits there and he goes, hey, Georgians, he doesn't even care about you. In which I kind of like Perdue over Ossoff, but Perdue, man, you dropped the ball in the end zone.
Well, I think this much. You always hear these words from some of the commentators that we hear on TV, that this is the most important election of our lifetime, which I think they overstate that. But I know this is the most important election of this year since we had a new president-elect. And so I don't believe you're going to win one. I think the Democrats are going to win these 2 races, or the Republicans will win these 2 races, because people are going to go vote straight Democrat, straight Republican. And if this goes Democrat and Kamala Harris gets to make the decision, this is pretty much the executive branch and the legislative branch being run by the Democratic Party in this country.
So there's no excuses.
No.
I mean, after you got an economy that's starting to tick up, that's going to be handed to a president, which is a rare thing that happens.
Right.
After you got a pandemic and you're going to be given 2 vaccines to handle it, and then you're going to have all the legislative branches you want, there's no excuses.
Nope. And so this is going to be interesting. I do not understand. If you're in politics, I mean, I love a debate. Mm-hmm. And if you're in politics, that's one of the reasons that you get into it, because you love to tell your side what you're about, what your party's about. And not to do it, not only does it show weakness, but this is the most important election that we've had in a few years from a senatorial. I mean, it's coming down to Georgia. And this guy's going to take the day off.
Well, Coach, I will say this. This is one part I differ with you on the debate. I've always thought that, hey, our most prestigious positions in America, we're going to base them off a debate. And it just makes me reflect back to a high school debate. Sure. And I'm like, okay, they probably bring more bang for the buck in other things in their knowledge or the research skills and things of that nature, or their open-mindedness than just having a debate. So, but this debate, you don't walk away from one. No. I mean, whether you do good on the debate or not is hit and miss at times, and it depends on the audience, and it depends on the questions thrown out there. But at least show the heck up for your state. Man, come on.
Man, not only just for your state, but also at this point in time, it's really for the country. I mean, yes, it's a Georgia Senate race, but this is the balance of power is in the hands of Georgia right now.
I agree. And so the other thing I will say that we talk about Perdue, but we're going to talk about something else here, is if I run for, tax collector or assessor in Camp County, I would expect that people in Camp County would most likely suspect that there'd be people in Camp County that would not want me to be it and some that would.
Right.
And I would garner support from people within Camp County. But as we've seen here in Georgia, outside of the district, money is funneled in from Hollywood, New York, a billionaire up there, I can't say that guy's name, that he ran for president, and all those other things. all these outside entities that gives the impression that it's nothing different than being China or Russia, to be honest, except that we're just in the same dang country. But it's outside interference, in my mind, is all this here. And we see this in a lot of elections that, hey, this one here in this state here, we have a chance to overturn it. So, or defeat the incumbent. So if we do, let's funnel money in there. And I just think that's wrong.
And that's what you saw in Texas.
Yeah.
They thought they had a shot to turn Texas blue.
Yeah.
The Democrats did, and money starts funneling in.
Yeah.
I don't really know personally what I think about it. It feels wrong.
It feels wrong.
But I have a good sense that this is not the first year, the first decade, maybe even
it's been going on for
the
years.
first century that this has been going on. But it just feels wrong. And when there is such a compression of expanse of just right there in one spot in the United States in Georgia, and all this stuff is coming in, it just feels like, I'm not saying there was big time fraud. Let's just say there was some fraud in every election. But it makes it look like anything and everything is going to be on the go right now. Do what you can, get as many people in this election as possible, in state, out of state, whoever. It just doesn't feel right.
Just a simple statement. In Florida, there was some NBA players and some Hollywood stars that were dumping money in to pay fines and legal fees for people who come out of prison, which is admirational. I think that's classy in certain aspects. But they were only doing it because of the election. That takes all, and then they didn't want their names known, and they didn't want nobody to know about it. So that kills all the transparency, and it puts all the ulterior motive in there, and it puts that seed in there. Now, whether their intentions were good or whether they were not, we'll never know.
Well, it's simple.
But gosh, why not do that right after election?
Well, you didn't want to say the guy's name, but the guy's name is who?
LeBron.
No, but the guy's name, the billionaire?
Bloomberg, wasn't it?
Bloomberg.
Yeah.
So Bloomberg says, I'm running for president as a Democrat.
Yep.
I can't stand Trump. I hate Trump pretty much. I'll do anything to get Trump out. And so even though I lose, I'm going to spend hundreds of millions of dollars for the Democrats. Okay, so then he goes and pays fines in Florida for felons, so they can get that paid off so they can be able to vote.
Yep.
Who do you think seriously, it's very simple. He's paying those people off to have a Democratic vote. You don't think you're going to pay those off. They go, I'm going to go down there and vote for the Republican, do you?
Or we're waiting for, right now, is anybody paying anybody's stuff off in January and February this year when we got 2 years to wait for election? No, they're not. So
pandering for a vote is one thing, but pretty much paying someone for a vote is another thing.
That's almost illegal, and some attorney generals think it is illegal. Wow. But with Bloomberg, I didn't win, so I'm going to pay and make sure somebody else beats him. I call that a tantrum.
President Trump had made more enemies than I've ever seen as a president, actually as a politician. Not only was, they tried everything with Russia, tried everything with the impeachment, tried anything and everything they can. And like I said, he didn't understand that you got to hold the baby. Yeah. And I think that's what got him. Election year, you got to start playing a little bit of politics. And he's not a politician at all. That's ended up killing him. But anyway, we're back to Georgia. But I think this is going to be absolute craziness. And what we've been seeing is this. We have been seeing all this stuff on social media that, the fraud here, fraud there. It's so much evidence. Can you imagine what's going to come out on social media, in the news, in the new Newsmax, OAN, if they lose this election?
Just mark my words. If the Republicans pull these 2 senatorial seats,
right,
all of a sudden there will be fraud in the election.
Right. Democrats will be saying it then.
Although we had fraud in the election supposedly in 2016 because Hillary still isn't over it because she just made a comment the other day. Yeah. And they're asking people to get over Trump's election, and it's only been 30, 40 days. So there was fraud in the election then, but mysteriously he cleaned it all up, so there's no fraud. So he should get a kudo for that, since everybody thinks there's no fraud. And now I promise you, if the Republicans win that Senate race, any of them, there will be fraud in that election, because that's just the way things are. And then I would like to pose one other thing. The conduit, and this is really going to touch a hard subject, the conduit, and I apologize here because I didn't inform you on this, Coach, but the conduit of the Democratic Party, the organization that has funneled money for them lately, and we have not seen them help a community one yet, but they claim they do, which is BLM. Oh my gosh. I just want to, please name me the community you help, but is that money being funneled for these outside sources to come in Georgia is the question I'd like to know, which we will never know. But
We heard there are the riots, protests, looting, whatever you want to call. But what have you seen since it got close to the election? That kind of calmed down. Haven't heard much. Hadn't seen much. And like you said, there's a movement. That's why it's called Black Lives Matter. It's a movement, but where in the world are they in the communities that they want to help?
I haven't seen it. I mean, did you build at least one damn YMCA, especially after you destroyed many of them? I mean, did you build one business for anybody? You know, I mean, I don't know. I'm just asking, throwing it out there, because if it is, I'll go put my money in the business if you help bring it up from the ground up. You know.
Last thing back with Georgia, if you are a Republican, especially if you're a Trump loyalist, you should be worried, because
I agree.
Georgia went blue for the first time in decades, or actually since Obama, right? Obama won Georgia. But I'm gonna tell you this much: because there was such a swell of Democratic votes, Democratic people come to vote against Trump. Both these guys, Perdue and Loeffler, are Trump supporters and loyalists.
Yeah.
And they're going to come out against them. It's going to be a fight. The Republicans got to quit playing fair politics and get dirty and nasty. And that's why he should have came to that dadgum debate. And he should have got nasty.
Yeah, he should have got nasty. And then there's actually some cases right now against some elected officials in Florida that said, we're going to cross the state lines and go vote. These were elected officials that said that.
Wow.
And you're like, what, dude, man, is that transparent or not? It is transparent. It's transparent on stealing elections, what that is.
Exactly.
You know, but anyway.
Interesting. We'll have a follow-up on this, because I think we'll be talking about this soon.
So, Coach, this is actually our very last political podcast of the year. We're going to do a podcast on comes out in a couple more days, that we're going to remember everything from 2020.
2020 and remember.
Yes.
Okay.
But this is our last official political podcast of the year. So dust off your history books and your political books and the Constitution, because that's kind of what I refer to as the Constitution. What do you think, Coach?
Yeah, it's been an absolute crazy year that we started in. We started doing this. Most of this, we first started talking about it was politics, and then it became fun with other things, with sports and movies. But both of us love this country so much. We love not only the history of the country and the government, but we love the Constitution. We love the military. We were down in Fredericksburg.
Yes, sir.
We were down there having a coffee, and this guy came in, and he heard us talking. First of all, we told him, thank you for your service, which you always should do that to your veterans, because he had a hat on. But he heard us talking about something to do with clips on the guns, which I forgot. And next thing you know, these two guys are talking. The veterans of this country that have saved us from speaking Japanese and German and whatever, those are the real heroes. And I truly believe that this country, no matter what you think, it's at a transition, but it's not been the first time it's been in a transition.
Yeah.
So keep your faith. God's in control today. He was in control before the election. He'll be in control after the election. But this has been this has been fun.
Yes, it has. It has. Well, Coach, what do you think? I think it's time.
Yes, sir.
Stay tuned, stay tuned, stay tuned.